Drafting a tight end is a lot like online dating. We spend all offseason going through all of these profiles to find the perfect match for us. Then the season gets here, we sit down for that first date, and we realize that tight end we drafted was nothing like their profile. They're like 5 inches shorter with a unibrow and a snaggletooth. We're just left completely disappointed. 2023 is going to be a lot like other years. We're going to have elite options at the tight end position, and then we're going to be throwing darts the rest of the way. But what do the current consensus rankings say, and do I differ in opinion from those? We're going to jump into it now. It's absolutely no surprise that Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews lead the way at the top of this list. Travis Kelce, by far the most important tight end piece if you're wanting consistency and upside every single week. And with Mark Andrews, it's not production that worries anyone. It's about him staying 100% healthy. But Lamar Jackson isn't under contract yet, so is that worrying anybody out there? Right now, it doesn't seem like it. TJ Hockenson came on really strong after the trade to Minnesota, and not only that, now Adam Thielen is gone. TJ Hockenson being at number 3 is no surprise to me. If he's healthy, he produces. George Kittle is one of the best tight ends in the league. And to begin last year, things were a little disappointing, but keep in mind, he was injured to start the year. Then all of a sudden, when he got fully healthy and Brock Purdy stepped in at quarterback, things got crazy for him. He won leagues last year because of his performance down the stretch. Who's going to be the quarterback? If it's Brock Purdy again, will that connection still be there? Woo! George Kittle could be in for a big year. If there's a definition of disappointing at the tight end position, it's got Kyle Pitts' face right next to it. This guy hasn't done anything since coming into the league 2 years ago. Keep in mind, when he was drafted, everybody out there was talking about how he was going to be this supernatural player that was going to move from tight end to wide receiver and absolutely dominate the league. He hasn't even been close yet. Do things change this year? Possibly. I'm still skeptical. Dallas Goedert might lack some weekly upside because of all the weapons that Philadelphia has, but I'm going to tell you right now, he is Jalen Hurts' guy. He is the go-to player on that offense. When Hurts is looking for somebody, it's going to be Goedert, and I absolutely love his safety every week. It will be interesting to see how Darren Waller's transition to the New York Giants looks this year. Daniel Jones has never really looked at the tight end position during his time in New York, but now we've got a bona fide weapon there for him that hopefully is a little bit more consistent than what he has had in the past. If he can stay healthy with no other weapons really around him at this point, is he going to be a guy that's going to give you top 5 numbers? Pat Freiermuth might be the safest tight end in fantasy football outside Travis Kelce. This is a guy that was absolutely peppered with targets last year by Kenny Pickett. He was top 5 in weekly targets at the tight end position, and sometimes the production didn't quite match that, but this year, that could all change. Evan Ingram and David Njoku. These guys are really similar players for me this year. High upside every single week, but because of the weapons they have around them, probably will not consistently produce. In really good matchups, these guys are going to ball out. But in other matchups, they're probably going to be really disappointing. Dalton Schultz was mildly disappointing last year. I think a lot of us were expecting a bigger season for him, and some of that had to do with injuries. However, now he moves on from Dallas and he stays in the same state, but now he's got a new team and no new quarterback as of yet. Will Dalton Schultz end up being a safety guy for whatever quarterback that they draft? Or maybe even Davis Mills? Does he provide us the upside that we are looking at drafting him late? Dawson Knox is highly touchdown dependent, but you can't really find a better offense for a guy to get those touchdowns. Josh Allen loves to look Knox's way in the red zone, and if he scores, he's a top 12 option every week. Cole Kmet had a slice of games last year where he was the tight end 1 for a stretch. But now in this offense, with a couple of added weapons, how much will things change for him? Can he get volume and sustain that, or is he just going to be touchdown dependent? Greg Dulcich started fast and then absolutely disappeared. Everybody that picked him up thinking that they had a league-winning waiver wire transaction was greatly disappointed by the time the end of the season got there. Can he be more consistent for us? Possibly, especially if Denver were to trade a wide receiver during the draft. But for now, I'm really skeptical of what this offense is going to look like. My boy Chiggy Oko from Tennessee, he is absolutely a guy that is under the radar sleeper at the end of drafts. I might not be willing to rank him too high as of yet, but he is a guy that could come on strong this year. Honestly, my tight end rankings look a lot like the consensus right now. Really, the only two areas that you see a big difference is Kyle Pitts being significantly lower because let's face it, I don't know if I trust Atlanta to use him correctly. They're run heavy, they have an unproven quarterback, and they have another weapon in Drake London that might be the focal point of that offense. I don't know how that's going to fit Kyle Pitts, so that worries me. And on the flip side of things, I have Dawson Knox higher in my rankings. I think based on what the tight end position could look like towards the bottom half of tight end ones this year, that Dawson Knox is well worth the risk every single week given his touchdown upside. I've also got 3 tight ends at the very end of my rankings that don't show up in the consensus. Juwan Johnson leads the way. He is the absolute bona fide red zone weapon for this New Orleans Saints offense. And this is an offense that wanted to get him utilized in the red zone and did a terrific job of it last season. The New England Patriots made some changes to the tight end position this offseason, but they still have Hunter Henry there. And Hunter Henry in his second year in this offense with Mac Jones, hopefully he can be a guy that is a very, very consistent target for Mac Jones. They don't really have any weapons on the outside right now that are going to command a lot of attention. Hunter Henry could be a guy, especially in the red zone, that is under the radar all season. And for all you Taysom Hill truthers out there, just so you don't try to come back at me and say I just hate the guy, I'll throw him in at number 15 for you. I would prefer these fantasy platforms get their crap together and just take the tight end eligibility away from him, because let's face it, he doesn't even play tight end. But that might not happen this year. So he'll once again be a guy that maybe he scores a rushing touchdown and has some rushing yards and is a cheat code at the position, but 90% of the time, he's gonna lose you weeks. Yo, on your way out, hit that like button for me and subscribe if you're new here to the channel. And in the comments down below, let me know what you think about the tight end position this year. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. I'll see you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.